Dun-dun-dun.
Here we go.
Oh, man. Here we are. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the DNBA show and the DNVR Nuggets podcast. There it is. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. There it is in the upper right-hand corner. Make sure to use the code DNVR when you sign up and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Harrison win today after the Nuggets preseason win over the Phoenix Suns. I am joined by Brendan Vogt.
It's looking a little empty in here, Win.
What's going on?
It's looking like this is a studio in transition.
In transition. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I did just hear it from the streets. Heard a little whispering.
Oh, okay.
Was walking the streets, heard something rustling up. Put near to it. Sounds like that new studio, Studio A. And
Back in Studio A?
Back in Studio A. It's coming together. Word on the street is sooner, very sooner rather than later. Okay. That's where we'll be doing these shows from.
Okay. This studio's been good to us.
It has.
But it's always felt a little cramped.
Yeah.
Great acoustics, though. Real homey vibe.
Nice and comfy in here.
Yeah.
Sometimes the sun comes through, though.
The exposed brick. Gotta love it.
Nice look. But
little light coming in from that window right there. But
it's a new and improved Studio A. Different space. So excited to get back in there.
Yeah. Very excited. We'll be back in there soon. But we're here for now. Not complaining at all. We got a cool show today. Of course, the Nuggets beat the Suns to get their first preseason win last night at Ball Arena. We're going to go over some of our notes from that game because we were not on the post-game show last night. We were at the arena, so we'll tell you what we saw there live. We're also going to go over some preseason storylines. Are we buying or selling some of these storylines that have kind of been fluttering in the wind throughout the last couple of weeks from training camp and into the preseason? And then I want to get to a mailbag in segment 3. So if you're in the chat right now, drop a question that you've got about the Nuggets. Kale is going to star those questions, and then we're going to come back to them.
Love it.
At the end of the show for segment 3. So again, if you're just coming into the chat, what's up? How's it going? Stay a while. Drop your Nuggets question in. We will come back to it and circle back in segment 3. First vote. Let's get to some notes from last night.
Sure.
Let's get to some notes. So, of course, Nuggets beat the Suns 107-105. Ish Smith gets the game-winning jumper. That was cool for Ish Smith for sure. My biggest note from the game, though, and this is something I looked back at today when I was kind of going over the box score, going over some film from the game, it was Bruce Brown's defense.
Yep.
And Bruce Brown was one of the Nuggets offseason acquisitions, of course. They got him for the mid-level exception. I thought he was definitely one of the steals of free agency. I think the Nuggets did as well. He was guarding Devin Booker for a lot of last night's game. And, man, when you looked back at the film, he was incredible. We do have a video of just some of his defensive possessions that I cut up here, and I want to play that, and we can kind of just talk over it. But he had some just the high effort, high energy, just extra effort plays that he was making defensively to get out on contests, to rotate. I mean, just the effort that Bruce Brown plays with is pretty crazy.
Yeah, he flies around out there, and it's, sometimes you see guys who excel at focusing on just shutting their guy down, but he's sort of involved in every aspect of the play.
Look at this pressure, man.
And he anticipates, where he'll have to move, when he'll have to cheat, when he's got to close in.
Contest right
just
there.
Like that. I mean, and it was a rough shooting night for Devin Booker, but the Nuggets as a team started with this guy. Just did a really good job of not letting him get any easy ones. Man.
Effort to contest that one, force another miss. I mean, he had, I think, 7 shot contests last night. That was one of the leaders on the team there. He contested 2 shots in the same possession.
He got the DPOG chain for this effort, correct?
Yeah, he did get the first defensive player of the game chain. Did you actually see the upgraded defensive player of the game chain?
Was it you who tweeted that was the best offseason upgrade?
Yeah, after this video, Kale, go to my Twitter and find that tweet. It's great.
Watching Bruce Brown live and watching these highlights now, I just kept thinking how few options they've had like this in the Jokic tenure. And even the approximate options, like I quite like Austin Rivers, but this is another level to me. And when you particularly this matchup, right? How easy has it been for Devin and Chris to just walk into whatever they want. And ideally, hopefully, with Bruce and KCP in the fold, it's not so easy. Bruce was awesome, man. Bruce was awesome.
The closest thing the Nuggets have had to Bruce Brown is probably Gary Harris.
You're right.
But I don't think Gary Harris had this type of energy, just constant energy.
I mean, he is all over the floor.
Yeah.
It's not just about his assignment. I'm with you.
You had a tweet last night. Can you say what that tweet was? What you compared Bruce Brown's defense to?
I can't quite explain it, but he plays ball like he's playing Fruit Ninja.
He does.
I don't know what that means, but it feels right to me.
He's everywhere, man.
And he's so shifty and slicey.
Yeah.
And like he's a treat to watch, man. This is what we were sold. And like Malone told us after the game, that's why they signed him.
Right. He was great defensively last night, and just seeing that gave me a lot of peace of mind about Bruce Brown, because I'd been a little underwhelmed with him these first two games. I was kind of questioning his fit on the bench unit. There's the defensive player of the game chain. On the left, you have this year's version. That's this year's version. This was last year's version.
Yeah.
You can't even see it there. You got to scroll down a little.
Just the letters. And I think, was it real?
You can see it there. Yeah.
I don't know, but this is it's a better chain.
Yeah,
it's an upgrade. You go.
That last year's version was a little embarrassing, just to be totally honest.
It's like this year's board that they have in practice. There's levels to this.
Yeah, but yeah, Bruce Brown got it last night. But offensively, I'm a little worried about Bruce Brown's fit on the second unit. I think he should be playing with the starters a lot. But defensively, you saw his impact last night. I think he's going to be a guy that closes a ton of games for the Nuggets ahead of maybe a starter or two. I think he's going to be a guy who you can definitely just put on those top offensive options that you're playing against.
Right.
And he's going to bother them. He's a pest defensively.
Offensively, too, I was really impressed. I thought he was, we use this phrase jokingly, exploring his game. But he was working to create something out of nothing, found some lanes to the rim, some nifty finishes, actually.
Yeah.
But and then Malone mentioned after the game, and honestly, Calvin Booth mentions this every time you talk to him about Bruce Brown. The guy has played point guard before. So they're comfortable putting the ball in his hands, and they're comfortable letting him look at the rim. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about this later in the show, Wind. But there is something, too, maybe Porter first sub out, Bruce Brown first sub in.
We saw it a little last night.
We can talk about it.
Did we?
Well, kind of. But the Bruce Brown element of this, I think, maybe makes, like, it's not just, Porter staggering with the bench makes sense. Getting Bruce in there with the starters makes sense as well.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the avenue.
Yeah. Thank you, Alyssa, in the chat for bringing this up. I did see this on Twitter. Bruce Brown, if you go on Basketball Reference, you know how it always has everybody's nickname.
That's right.
Every nickname that they've been called and from like a somewhat notable publication or on Twitter. Like, it's all on Basketball Reference, every nickname a guy has. Bruce Brown, one of the only players I can ever remember that does not have a nickname.
Literally not one.
It might be our job to change that.
I mean, what else would we be here for?
Yeah, this seems like something right up our alley.
Yep.
So we need Bruce Brown nickname suggestions.
We'll get working on it, chat. We want to hear from you. Obviously, we know it's organic, but listen, this is perfect. We want players to be Denverites.
Yes.
We want them to come in and be a part of who we are.
Yes.
I think the fan base embracing Bruce Brown in a way apparently no fan base has yet so far.
Well, I mean, he was playing for Pistons have a good fan base.
They do.
Not going to knock on the city of Detroit, but those teams sucked when he was there, to put it lightly.
Right.
Then he was playing for the Nets, who I will just call out and say have no fan base.
Yeah, no soul. For now, I like Fruit Ninja. Thank you, Jordan. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Either way, I'm really glad. He's a Denver
That's
Nugget.
not bad.
It's not. I don't know why it's apt, but I think it is.
Yeah.
God,
it will be a great way to welcome him to the city of Denver.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a glove on hand fit, man. He's a laid back guy. He likes to do the dirty work on the court. Off the court, kicks his feet up. Plays a little golf, keeps his head down. I think this is a good fit.
Yeah. John says Bruce Brown. Homage to Gary Harris.
Of course.
Bruce the Juice.
the boss. Maybe there's a Bruce Springsteen play there. There's
boss.
There's material, but if
There's
he
lots
plays
to
like
work with.
if he plays like that, we're gonna have to get him one ASAP.
I gotta say, I like Fruit Ninja. I kind of like it.
Me too. Me too.
All right. The other big takeaway I had from the game that I didn't get the chance to talk about really on the postgame show. I'm sure the guys brought it up, but I think we should talk about it a little more. A really rough game for Michael Porter Jr.
Was.
Definitely his worst game of the preseason. And, I mean, this game had all the bad parts about Michael Porter Jr. wrapped up into one.
Sure did.
The bad shot selection. I mean, we joke like lightheartedly about, how Mike's eyes must really light up on offense when Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray aren't in the game. I mean, he was shooting last night like he was just playing 5-on-5 at the Y or something.
That first shot he took, the wrong-footed 180, turned around in the air to fade. Listen, this is why, and I wonder if Porter, I don't know if he does, recognizes this. Third option is a nice place for him right now. He's if it's a heliocentric offense around Porter, you're in trouble. He's got a long way to go. The handle is not there. The vision is not there. If he's going to initiate anything, create anything, he's not that guy yet. And I like the way he feasts off the open looks when sharing the floor with dynamic players. And by the way, there's a version of this game where he plays the same way and hits some of those shots.
Well, yeah, he's hit those shots before. We joke like Michael Porter Jr. can't take a bad shot, but that's true when he's hitting them.
But this is right. This is kind of what it looks like if he's sort of the 1A, and it's a long way to go. The offense was really weird, right? He was just kind of running back and forth, looking for a mid post up, a low post, and kind of in the way a lot. And I perhaps most notably, the body language really degraded, I think, as he struggled. And think about the matchup. It's the Suns. It's a team that's given him trouble in the past, that's successfully punked him in the past. And so missing the shot's one thing, taking a bad shot's one thing. The kicker, the killer, was him sort of putting his head down and kind of moping back up the floor.
And there was one play where that really just was punctuated, and it was when Devin Booker got a pick six on him.
Yep.
Stole the ball right from him, went down, got a wide open layup or dunk, I forgot what it was. Denver called a timeout, and he just walked back to the bench with his head down.
Yep.
And just the body language is really bad all night. I thought he was weak with the ball in situations like that. I thought he played soft. It just was the Michael Porter Jr., the bad version that we've seen in the past, which sucked. So it was a rough night for him. I think we do have to remember sometimes, and I even forget this. I think about this with Jamal Murray. I don't think about it with him as much for whatever reason. Maybe it's because he played 9 games last year, probably, that he did miss all of last season, and he is still getting back into the swing of things. But I think it was more so that he had 2 okay to fairly good preseason games followed by this step back. Which was pretty disheartening. But yeah, I just didn't have it.
Did you, though? I got on the show and said this last night. I really liked that Malone had an obvious opportunity to lean into him, and he didn't. He didn't last night. I think he sort of chose to pick him up and think about what's coming and the work he's been putting in. When, look, frankly, sometimes if you give him an inch to take a shot, he'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been really stupid for him to take a shot at Michael Porter Jr. after that preseason game. Definitely.
Agreed.
And it was funny because Malone was asked about him, and you're right. He did kind of prop him up and say, we're happy he's healthy and we're happy he's playing again and he's going to get there. And he also shouted out a play he had in practice. Do you remember this?
Yeah, man. Diving.
He talked about this play. Michael Porter Jr. had it in a practice this week or over the weekend where he dove on the floor for a loose ball, got possession, and then the whole team celebrated. And it was this whole big thing, I think, because he obviously rarely does that.
Probably a rare sight.
But still, he made one of those plays in practice. Malone brought it up post-game, so I thought that was interesting.
I thought his body language got away from him, but our friend Voya was texting me. He disagreed with me about one thing. He thought Porter kept playing hard for most of the night, and maybe that's enough for Malone to say, look, it wasn't your result, but onward. Mm-hmm. And look, there are a lot of those shots that Porter is going to take and going to make.
Yeah.
But this is, like, he's so funny in that every few games he's going to remind us. When he plays really well, it's going to be easy to lose sight of the deficiencies. And, of course, the opposite is true as well. And that's why the real tragedy in him missing all this time is not just the damage he could have done, but the growth he could have displayed.
Yeah. If you remember back right before Jamal Murray got injured in April of 2021, when those three were building that chemistry together, that was the period in the season when Michael Porter Jr. was channeling his inner Klay Thompson, and he was scoring like 32 points
Not
and only dribbling 3 times. That's what was going on right before Denver made that trade for Aaron Gordon.
Right.
That was when those three were really learning how to play together. It's when Michael Porter had seemingly accepted this role of being this Klay Thompson type guy.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the best option for this offense. So that should be the direction they try to head back.
But it'll happen more naturally for him too on the floor with the guys who are going to run the offense, and like he's going to take and make open shots.
Right.
And again, like you said, we joke. No one was surprised to see him take the chance to kind of open it up last night.
I feel like tomorrow is a big game for him against the Clippers.
Yeah.
Nuggets are in LA against the Clippers. Wednesday, they've got the Warriors Friday at Chase Center. That's their last preseason game. I don't know how many starters will play in that one, but I expect Porter to play Wednesday.
I think Porter keeps playing.
Yeah.
They're going to give him a chance to play through it.
Yeah.
Get back
Jamal
on the-
Wednesday? I don't know. 50-50 maybe?
If it's like the hamstring thing, like if you go, oh, it's just like a little sore, you're like, okay. But then when you say the word hamstring, I'm like, shut it down.
Jokic Wednesday?
I don't know, man. I'm
Yeah.
not expecting it.
I'm not expecting either to play, but we'll see. They could.
I have one more note on that last game. I'm looking at the rundown. It looks like you have it as well. It was a great Bones Hyland game. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just about, you can look at the box score, not the most efficient, but with all the key guys who were down, nowhere to hide, he got challenged by Chris and Devin, and then both ends of the floor. He responded. He went right back at them on offense, was not afraid, found some success in the mid-range, which we all love to see. It's a next step in his development. But to me, I was even more encouraged. Like, he picked up on what Bruce Brown was doing, and he brought the energy as well. And
I actually think it was Bones who established it on like the first defensive possession of the game.
He was working, man, and he was. I thought there were even some of the possessions where Phoenix scored. I thought he was up for the challenge on D, and that's really cool.
It was either Denver's first or second possession of the game where Bones Hyland tied up Chris Paul on that drive to the rim.
And we saw a lot of it, actually, especially when he had to guard Devin, who will take some of the only needs so much separation to get the shot off kind of shots. Bones, when he just sticks a hand up, man, it's so long. He is really able to contest jumpers, and when he plays with the required energy, he can be a disruptor.
Yeah. What you were saying about how he kind of embraced that matchup, though, was spot on. I don't know if Bones Hyland has ever really played against Chris Paul like that. Of course, they played Phoenix last year. Bones Hyland was coming off the bench. So naturally, he wasn't really matched up with Chris Paul that much. But maybe for like the first real time last night, he was going one-on-one with him, face-to-face, mano-a-mano. He didn't back down one bit. He wanted that matchup. Like, he wanted that smoke with Chris Paul.
Totally, man.
And then Devin Booker was guarding him on the other end, and he went at Devin Booker. Those guys were jawing back and forth. He was trying to take him off the bounce. He was getting to his mid-range. That was like a matchup that Bones Hyland stepped up for. And that was really fun to watch. Really fun.
He's gonna get those moments. It's your turn, kid, and what do you got? And the fun part about a guy like that is mentally he's there. Yeah. He's going to step up. He's going to compete.
Yeah. And yeah, Bones, it seems like he's okay. I actually went back and looked at the replay where he got injured today. It was that really weird collision with Torrey Craig that he had in the third quarter. Malone said that Torrey Craig stepped on his foot and it was just kind of a soreness or a sprain. But I think he's going to be good.
He did not sound concerned.
Yeah.
Said he caught up with him in the hallway. And there is a bit of